Our next guest is the owner of the real estate inspection company here in San Diego and is making his first appearance on the show. Please put your hands together for Philippe Heller.
There he is, Mr. Heller. How you doing, man?
Very well.
Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you own the San Diego Inspection Company.
Mm-hmm.
You do tons of inspections
Yes.
of people's homes.
Yeah.
This is typically done when a buyer says, okay, we want to buy this house. They get a contingency period, then an inspector comes, like you or one of your guys comes, to check out the house to make sure everything's okay.
Correct.
The thing that's really cool about you and your company is that you are ahead of the curve on the tech side like a mofo. Mm-hmm. And there's a bunch of really cool tech, and I noticed today you brought one of those cool things with you.
I did. All of our guys are equipped with thermal imaging cameras. And what this does is it gives us kind of a peek at things that you can't see with the naked eye. It sees temperature, and that can help us find moisture, helps us evaluate the heating and air system. It can help us find overheated electric wires. I have found old aluminum wiring that was overheating and was a fire hazard, and the sellers actually thanked me for finding it because they never would have known until it was too late. Primarily, we use it to find moisture, and it's a great tool.
Let me see this thing.
Sure.
Let me see if we had a leak up in the corner here. Oh, I don't know. That might not actually be good. I might have to have you take a look at this place. This is amazing. So this is not every inspector uses this
Correct.
technology.
Correct. They're very expensive, and especially when you start talking about multiple inspectors like we have. And many inspectors haven't made that investment. They think, well, I can see a stain. I can see if something's wet. The problem is, with so many flip houses in San Diego, they're freshly painted, and you may not see a stain. You know, there might be a freshly tiled shower upstairs that wasn't done properly. So we run the water, we go downstairs, we check with the thermal camera. Sure enough, we'll find leaks all the time with it. And it's something that may not have manifested yet into a stain, but this can see it through fresh paint.
And you guys
it's amazing.
You guys have a bunch of other really cool pieces of technology, but something like this just shows you going the extra mile, because ultimately whoever's paying for this inspection needs it for their negotiation abilities in the transaction.
Yes, a picture from a thermal picture is indisputable. So if we say, look, there's a leak under a shower, or there's moisture coming in from outside, it's really hard to dispute it, so a buyer can use that as leverage to negotiate a repair.
And one of the things that we do on our reality show, Win This Listing, is we have appraisals, inspections done ahead of time, which is something that you now are offering.
Yes.
A pre-listing inspection, because whoever's paying for the inspection is sort of getting ammo for the negotiation.
Correct.
So if the buyer's paying for the inspection, then they're using that information as ammunition to negotiate. Say, oh, well, there's a leak here, this is broken, that doesn't work, this was overheating, this needs to be replaced. We want a lower price.
Yep.
However, if you are the homeowner, and I recommend everyone do this, if you're going to sell a home, get the inspection done yourself. Why would you want to give all that leverage to the buyer? Do it yourself. Yeah. If there's something wrong, know it before anyone else does, fix it. And then when the buyer does their own inspection, they won't find anything.
Correct. It takes away all those objections. And it's not just me as an inspector saying get a pre-listing inspection. Actually, the National Association of Realtors said that houses that are pre-inspected prior to listing sell for more money and in a shorter duration, because the buyers are more confident. You protect yourself as the seller and as the real estate agent from liability because you're going above and beyond disclosing everything. So instead of waiting for the buyer to come in and getting a thick report with all these maintenance items, get them done ahead of time. The sellers will also save money because they have the luxury of time then to negotiate for repairs. So the seller sells their house for a higher price. If they have to make repairs, they can negotiate a lower fee. And the real estate agents make a bigger commission because the house is selling for more.
Yeah.
So it works really well for the selling side.
Yep, absolutely. Well, what works for whoever pays for it first.
Correct.
That's really who it works for.
Yes.
And if the buyer pays for the inspection first, then it's going to work for them. If the seller pays for the inspection first, then it's going to work for them.
Good point.
It's just that simple.
Yeah.
So I would actually recommend getting the inspection done before you list the property. And I think that's why you call it the pre-listing inspection, because you don't want to list a property, get an offer, and then all of a sudden you're getting your own inspection. You might need some time. There might need some things that might need to be fixed that might take a few weeks.
Yeah, and a simple service may save you hundreds or even thousands of dollars rather than waiting till you're in that escrow period and your AC wasn't working quite as well as it should. And now you have a buyer who wants to buy your house, but they want that huge credit.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, you've probably seen some pretty crazy things,
Oh, yeah.
I imagine, crawling around in houses all over San Diego County.
Oh, yeah.
These things are the things that are sort of hidden behind the walls,
Mm-hmm.
hidden in the nooks and crannies, underneath the houses.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not even talking about bugs here.
Correct.
We're not even talking about that.
That's simple stuff.
Yeah, that's easy, right? You can see where bugs are.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the stuff that you don't see, the stuff that you don't smell, the
Mm-hmm.
stuff that you don't know is there. There's only one way to find out, and that's to have a guy like you come out with equipment like this and stick it in every nook and cranny of the house.
Yeah, you really want somebody who's trained, who has seen all these things, and we know where to look. We know where the problems are. We understand flip houses, old houses, new houses even. And so you want somebody with that breadth of experience looking at the house.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that's interesting, I think, about San Diego is the roof situation. It's like, I'm from Missouri. It's like shingles. That's what we have. Here, there's all sorts of different kinds of roofs
Yeah.
and whatnot. Some people may not realize what's going on with those roofs, but a lot of those roofs, they're like, I don't know, they're like tile or porcelain or something on the Mexican-style houses. You know what I'm talking about?
Concrete or clay.
Or
Yes.
clay. That's what I was looking for, clay. But like, there's all sorts of things that can happen with those roofs.
Yes.
That's a common thing. People think, okay, a roof, but the roof will be good for this long. But you don't know until you get up there and look at it.
Some people never consider the roof until it leaks. They don't realize that they should be servicing it. They should be getting debris off of it. There's a lifespan to the tar paper underneath the tile that does need to be replaced, especially on houses built in the 70s and 80s, even the early 90s. That paper, with our dry climate, only lasts about 25 or 30 years. So if you go into some of the older neighborhoods, you'll see that all the tiles are being stripped and the paper's being replaced. So it's something at least to be aware of when you're buying a home.
Give me the brass tacks on this. Let's say I'm a home seller. And I'm like, okay, we made the decision as a family. All right, we're going to sell the house in the near future. I'm watching the show Smarter San Diego, want to be smarter than everyone else, want to get my pre-listing inspection. What does it look like? What's it going to cost me? How long does it take? What am I in for?
Sure, it's a few $100s, and it's based on the size of the house, whether there's pools or guest houses. We have all types of houses, obviously, in San Diego. But you're looking at any, top-level inspector in San Diego is going to charge you probably close to $450 to $550 for the average house in San Diego. And an inspection will last a few hours. It's very thorough, so it's going to be between 2 to 3.5 hours, depending on how much documentation there is. And you will get a big report with photos and lots of detail. And then you can use that as a negotiating tool and say, look, we've taken care of 90% of these items were not taken care of. So the buyer has that confidence that you've done your due diligence, you're disclosing everything, you've maintained the home, and it makes for a much smoother transaction.
Now this FLIR here, this infrared camera, that shoots videos too, right?
It does. We could take, of course, still images, but it does, the higher end cameras, not all of them do. This one does take video as well. So we can capture a leak. We can capture, some what happens when, for example, sprinklers are spraying against the house. It's amazing.
When sprinklers are spraying against the house?
They can, if it goes on for a long enough time and it's soaking into the house, it can actually get through, and you can see where it's going to damage baseboards, drywall. Eventually, it will cause perhaps a mold problem in the wall. So, sprinkler spraying against the house is that's one of the biggest things we see. People plant plants next to the house, and then they aim the sprinklers at it, and eventually it destroys the stucco, and it's a big problem.
Wow.
Yeah.
These are the things you need to know before you sell your home. Don't let the buyers have the advantage. If they pay for the inspection first, they're going to get it. Philippe, thank you so much for coming in today, man.
Thank you.
Showing us your cool tools. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.